I'm Elworthy, and today we are going to be talking about something that may or may not be a secret among people who play Warhammer 40k. Some of you might think it is awful, but I urge you to wait until the end of this video and also into the next video to see really what Tabletop Simulator has to offer you. But for now, I'm going to go over my history with Warhammer 40k. This is kind of part one in a two-part thing I'm going to be doing. I just want to explain to you guys why I care so much about 40k, and I've never really talked about it. I've just kind of given you hints along in some videos, but I want to give you a genuine history of my life. So, I have been playing 40k for many years now. You can even find some of my older 40k videos on my channel. You will notice that I have a few battle reports on here, but mostly my 40k videos are about my own army, the Blood Angels. I remember when I first got into 40k. I was in middle school, so I was about 14 to 15. My friend had me come over to his house. He showed me these green models, which wore this power armor. You know, they looked like, robots almost when I first looked at them. It took me a little while to figure out that they were humans. My friend was playing, of course, the Dark Angels. This was maybe back in 4th edition, possibly 3rd. I'm 21 right now at the time of this recording, so you can do the math, I suppose. When I saw his models and how well they were painted, I thought to myself, well, I'd like to play this game too. We did a small skirmish game. This was back when Assault on Black Reach had just come out. I played the orcs, of course. It was just a lot of fun, and we had just played, on the floor with no terrain. Look, I mean, we were kids. We didn't really know what we were doing. And so, thinking back to when Black Reach came out, fairly long time ago, But anyway, so after this game, I was hooked. I said, yep, I want to play this game too. And so my friend said, what do I want to play? And now at this point, I found out there were several of my friends who were playing this game. I really wanted to be on the same team as my friends, because my friends would always talk about, like, oh, we'll go to tournaments together, we'll do, like, big apocalypse games or whatever. We were really ambitious. We were kind of dumb. We didn't know how much money that would cost. And we'll get to the money aspect later. But in any case, because I want to be on the same team as my friends, my first friend who was playing the Dark Angels, so, I couldn't be them. Obviously, no, you can't. In the mind of a child, you can't be the same as, your friend. You got to pick something different. So I'm like, all right, well, I won't do that. So I was like, ooh, I really like the color blue. And I was like, well, why don't I just play as what I hadn't known yet to be the Ultramarines? But my buddy who was playing the Dark Angel said, no, we have someone who's already playing Ultramarines, we want you to be kind of different. I'm like, all right. And, I was thinking, ooh, well, maybe, I could be, more traditional Space Marine style. I'll just be like white or silver or something. And they said, no, we got a guy who's playing Grey Knights. And I was a bit bummed out, because I felt like, well, I don't really know much about the game already. I don't know too much about the lore. And then they were like, oh, hey, why don't you, they were like, hey, do you like red? And I was like, I guess. I mean, that wasn't really, my favorite colors were blue and green, and then maybe black, but they didn't know, my friends didn't really know about the Black Templars, or I believe they were the Black Templars either, so they didn't tell them to me. A little bit frustrating, but in hindsight, I don't mind, because I got to fall in love with the Blood Angels, and man, let me tell you, they're really cool. And I didn't expect them to be as cool as they actually were. So anyway, my friend said, hey, you should play Blood Angels. And I asked what they were like, and he told me they're just Space Marines but red. And in my mind, I'm like, awesome. Now I can hang out, do stuff with my friends. So at this point, I was, I went back to my house, and I was sitting around, I was like, man, I gotta get some models. I'm not sure what to get. So, and my friend said, oh, why don't you get Assault on Black Reach also? You get baseline, you get some orcs. I've actually, funny enough, I've never actually built or painted the orcs. I still have them. I still have all the orcs from Assault on Black Reach. I just never built them. Because when you get, from Assault on Black Reach, you get, like, what, a 5-knob squad, you get 30 boys, some Def Coptas, and a war boss. That's it. It's not that much. Like, in the grand scheme of how orcs work nowadays, that's nothing. That's not very much. Granted, in Assault on Black Reach, all you got for Space Marines was the Dreadnought, the Tactical Squad, and the Captain. So, oh, and Terminators, right? And you got Terminators. So, really, there was a bit of a, I think the Space Marines had a bit of an edge in that box set. But, that's just me. Anyway, so I was like, okay, I went onto the Games Workshop website, and I'm like, oh, I'll just figure out how much everything would cost, and I'm like, oh, okay, let's get Assault on Black Reach plus some extra tactical squads, because, you always need more guys, right? You always need more basic infantry to really bulk it out. And I said, oh, well, I'm going to need some rhinos. So I got some rhinos, and that was about it in terms of what I got. I first purchased, and this was back when things were cheaper, and I don't quite know. But I do know I spent a total of $145 because I bought myself about Assault on Black Reach, 2 more tactical squads, and I believe I got 2 rhinos also along with that. So not a massive force, but certainly something to get started with. And I also, you know, I didn't have that much money. $145. That was 2 birthdays saved up and mowing the lawns for a while. But it was because I was going to Oregon, so there's no tax in Oregon, right? So I could just go to a Games Workshop and buy everything there. Very smart of me, of course, to do that. So of course, after I bought all this stuff, I brought it back to I live in Washington, as you guys know, in Seattle, and I was like, ooh, I want to play, but I needed a codex, right? So you need the codex, right? I didn't buy the codex, and the guy at the shop, the Games Workshop shop, he didn't ask why I didn't buy the codex. I don't know, maybe he just wasn't thinking about it, but I didn't buy it. I printed out the codex online, 5th edition, because one of my friends found me a good PDF. So I still have it, actually. I don't. Maybe I'll show it on camera sometime. But I still have that old 5th edition PDF codex. I printed it out, bound it. It looked really nice, actually. I was very happy with the job I did to make sure it worked out. Obviously, all the points are way off now. I could never reuse that codex. But anyway, so I got to work on building and painting my models. Now, for those of you who don't know, I like playing games. I'm a huge board game guy. I always loved having those memorable experiences, Like, I don't know if you guys have ever played Twilight Imperium, but essentially, it's this giant space epic. You have a bunch of little plastic miniatures, and you move around the board, and you're trading and fighting and stuff. Or if you've ever played Axis and Allies, that's a much more familiar game, I think, to most people. And, people are like, oh, well, what's this game? And, I say, oh, well, it's just a World War II game. Again, you have little miniatures, you're building up an economy, you're fighting. Really cool. So I always really liked the miniature style board game. So when I got Warhammer 40k, I'm like, great. I rattled around the box. I was like, seems a bit light. I was a bit surprised by that. And I was like, the box seems a little thin. I wonder why it's so thin. And then I pull it out. Sprues and paints. Nobody told me this. I had no idea. Actually, that's the funny part. I had no idea that you had to actually build every single model. So, at the time, I didn't have a job. I just spent all this money. And I was like, what? I spent all this money. I can't even play the game. Like, $145 to me was way more. Like, that was a lot of money to me back then. And it was, for me, in my head, I was thinking, what? I could have bought, another board game, for this much. And I had to go to the store, and I bought, paints and glue and just all that stuff. And so I tried to work on it a little, and I found out, I'm not very good at it. I was having a lot of trouble. I was kind of on my own, right? Because my friends were like, oh, it'll be easy. You just build your stuff, and you do it. So I was like, all right, I tried it, and I was really bad at it, and the glue wasn't working. I got really frustrated. So I packed up my 40k stuff, stored it away. It was gone. I was like, you know what? I don't want to play. I'm done. I'm not playing 40k anymore. So then, after several years go by, I've now had a couple jobs now. I'm more independent. I'm an adult now, right? So it's 2017, a year ago. That's when the videos started coming out for my 40k stuff. I was thinking, man, I really want to get back into 40k because it was a really good game, and I feel bad that I never actually finished my army. Like, I built it. I actually did, funny enough. I did build it a little. I broke the Dreadnought from the Black Reach, Assault on Black Reach, and the captain I did wrong, so I just had the 10 tactical squads. And the funny part was, for the tactical squads, I didn't understand the rules of the game when I was building them yet, because even though I printed out the codex, I didn't actually read the rules. I don't know, I didn't understand the game. It was so confusing. This idea, if you got a hit, wound, then a guy gets a cover save, then if he fails, they get an invulnerable save, because remember, it's back in 5th edition, and it's like, and the different side armor for vehicles, so I found out my rhinos weren't that tough, and I gave all my Marines bolt guns, because I didn't know you could give them flamers, and I did actually, that's a lie, I'm sorry, I'll go back. I did give them, my tactical squad, a flamer and a missile launcher, but it wasn't doing anything, especially when, I had the guy who had the Grey Knights, and he had the big walker guy, where you have a Space Marine inside, actually modeled inside of, the knight. Anyway, so I got all this stuff together, and I'm building it, and I'm working on it. And 2017, it was my 10-year anniversary since I'd first created my channel. My first video, was uploaded in 2009, right? So my 10-year anniversary is coming up in September, and I'm thinking, I don't know what I want to do with that video yet, but I was thinking maybe it could be a Warhammer video. We'll see. So going back to the story, I just went on a huge rant. Sorry. So anyway, so it's now 2017, and I'm thinking I'm gonna be rebuilding all my Warhammer 40k stuff. So I go ahead and I go to the Games Workshop, and I'm like, you know what? After browsing on the forums, I realized Death Company were really cool to me because I've been reading more about the lore for the Blood Angels, and I thought, oh, it's so cool how the Primarch Sanguinius, he died, and he's the only Primarch of all the Space Marine chapters to actually be permadead, right? Because obviously, Gilliman comes back, as we know now, and Johnson, Lionel Johnson, who's the Dark Angel, the Lion guy? I think he's still alive, as far as I know. Anyway, but you know what my point is. So I thought it was really cool how the Space Marines, they had this connection to the Emperor in a way that no other faction did, because their Primarch gave up their Primarch gave up his life in order to help save the the Emperor, and you can't be more loyalist than that, right? Sacrificing yourself. And now all the Blood Angels always remember this, so they can never really betray the Emperor. They can never truly be corrupted by chaos, which is really cool. I like, because I always hated the idea. I don't like chaos. I don't like the lore that much. I think it's kind of a little too cheesy, but anyway, that's besides the point. Right, so I've gone ahead and I'm rebuilding. You guys can watch the videos. You can see what I did with my army, right? You can see me building how I put together the Predator. I got some Predator tanks. I heard those were fun. Got some Death Company. Heard those were fun. I got two. They were selling these Death Company set boxes, so I got two. I got one set of Death Company, and I got some Assault Marine squads that I turned into Death Company. Super cool, because I didn't have the money to get two of those big sets. Got Death Company Dreadnought, I got a Vindicator, 2-ball Predators. I even, later on after that, and I played some games and realized, I don't have enough firepower. Got a Predator Annihilator, put some las cannons on, super useful. I think if I was ever going to actually go get more Blood Angel stuff, I'd probably go get a Devastator squad. That's probably what I'd be, just to find my Devastator squad. Although, I'll save it for another rant, or discussion, I suppose, is what I'm calling this, because Primaris has come out now, and it's kind of ruined the whole meta of what my army has. Anyway, but the interesting part about this, as I was building up this stuff in the videos, as you can see, that's when my friends were also getting back into Warhammer 40k, because I was like, hey, this is a really cool game. We should totally be, all getting into it. So, I tried to make the process of making the models more fun. That's why I put it on YouTube, because I don't like building the models. I don't like painting them. I mean, sometimes it's fun to paint them, but that's not really me. I like playing the game, right? I buy these things to play the game, and I like reading the lore, and that's fun. The actual construction itself has always been kind of a turn-off for me, which is fine. It's okay. And also, as you can see through the YouTube videos, I have recorded every single Warhammer 40k battle I've been in, except for that first one where my friends got me into it. And you can see, I've never won a single game of this. I'm not trying to make any excuses for it. I don't have a good army composition. I would have to go buy more stuff. It's kind of, I don't really want to go do that. I'd rather just kind of go play a fun game. So, I mean, and heck, my whole army, as it is now, I've spent about, over $700, and that's between collecting, building, painting my army. And, when it turns out your army isn't very good, it makes it hard to, want to buy new models. And it's just, I don't know. I'm sure everyone has felt this way. Or maybe it's just me. Maybe I'm the only one feeling this way. I'm not made of money, though. So that brings us to now, right? The main subject of this video, right? Or I guess part one of this video, because I actually decided I want to split up instead of doing one big rant. But Tabletop Simulator, right? It's this game on Steam. It had some controversy when it came out from the Warhammer community. I let that die down, but if the controversy comes up, I can talk about it real quick. Pretty much all people were saying is that, oh, look at these people using Warhammer 40k products with, and not giving, Games Workshop any money. But you need to understand that, in terms of the digital medium, this is, Warhammer 40k isn't, it's a physical medium, right? So the digital isn't something Games Workshop has any control over at all. And, Games Workshop sued Tabletop Simulator, and they lost. because obviously we still have the models here, and I'll be talking about that in part 2 when I teach you how to use Tabletop Simulator. But so I just want to get that controversy out of the way, because I don't think it should be controversial at all. I'm not doing anything wrong, and you'll see why later. Because listen, I love playing games in person, right? As you can see, I've made lots of videos on it. I love it, but it's just hard to get a game. Besides the, like, Tabletop Simulator lets me have many more games, right? It lets me try out new strategies. I can try new armies. Heck, I can experience all 40k has to offer without having to spend thousands of dollars I would need to spend to do everything that I do, right? I'm still learning 8th edition. Rules keep changing, and it means I need new strategies, and it means I need new models. And thanks to the generous help of people making mods in the Steam Workshop, I can now play how I want to play. But the greatest thing about this is that I can get my friends to play who can't afford 40k, right? 40k is a hobby, all right? It's a hobby which I've enjoyed for a while, but it's kind of a lonely hobby if you don't have like a good community, right? I remember watching some of Wargamer Fritz's old videos talking about what to do when there's nobody to play a game with. He suggested getting into other aspects of the hobby, like the painting and the lore. I did that, but it felt like a letdown when I could see how much fun the game was to play. Watching battle reports, like mini wargaming. I love watching those battle reports. They're so much fun. But, I'm just watching. I'm not playing it. Right? So, Fritz, if you watch this, I'd love to know what you think. Same to Joe Balls, a wonderful Blood Angels player whom I look up to if he happens to see this. Although he hasn't posted a video in a while, so I don't know if he still plays 40k. Listen, Tabletop Simulator is $20. It lets me play Warhammer 40k in a way I've never seen. And I agree. It doesn't feel the same as playing in person. I strongly encourage anyone who wants to play 40k to get Tabletop Simulator if money, time, and commitment is an issue. Who knows when 9th edition will come out, but for now, Tabletop Simulator has most armies up to date for 8th edition. I fully support anyone who wants to play Warhammer 40k in person, and I still like playing 40k in person. I would love to play more 40k and have a reason to go play 40k in person, but it's not realistic, right? One of those games, the game where it was a Blood Angel Civil War battle, I had to drive an hour to get to the place. I got lost, and then finally made it there late at night, managed to get a game in, then I had to drive all the way back, got lost again. The length of effort you have to go just to play a board game, it seemed a little absurd. So that's why, if you're a loyal viewer and you decide to get a game on Steam, feel free to add me as a friend, right? I would love to play some 40k with you. I will gladly teach some of the rules to the best of my abilities, of course, because there's no, new FAQs, you gotta do some rules interpretation. I try and play 40k as best as I can to the updated version, but it'll never be perfect, right? Even in the most professional 40k players, people still make mistakes. It's just still a game with lots of interpretation. So in the next video, I'm going to be looking at Tabletop Simulator itself, actually going into the game and showing you, and see just what you can do in the game. I want everyone to know how easy or hard it is to actually play Warhammer 40k in Tabletop Simulator, and, I hope, to see it help encourage people to get the game and allow the 40k community to branch into untapped areas of once isolated players. Because I don't know, as I get back into 40k again, now for the third time, I think about how much easier it is for people who had no idea how to ever have access to this game at all. How to ever enjoy 40k in a way that a lot of people, like in New York, LA, people in those big cities where there's lots of people, there's lots of players to play, versus, what if you're out in Oklahoma? I don't live there, I live in Seattle, but there might not be anyone to play a game with, for whatever reason. So that's why I really want to encourage, even though I know some people might not like it, I very do strongly encourage going and getting Tabletop Simulator and using that to play 40k on. It's really good. Anyway, so feel free to comment your thoughts. I always reply to comments if I get any, And as always, I'm El Werfy, and I'll see you guys next time.